Good to see everybody. Mr. Cunningham, I want to congratulate you on the Independence County Livestock Show. Saw that post. Wonderful news.
Thanks. Hope it all works out well. We're planning for something for the kids.
Did I see it's at Izard County?
Yes, it'll be at the Izard County Fairgrounds.
That's what, by any means necessary. I like that.
Hey, what about the district fair up there?
Well, June 9th,
question.
the district fair board's going to have a meeting. That's all I know. The word is that I heard is that Melbourne doesn't want to host the district fair, but that's just what I've been told. I don't know if that's it or not, but we shall see.
I've heard from both sides. They can't seem to get along.
The board and the town, or just the board?
The Izard County Board and District Board.
Oh, okay. So that's the issue.
Yes, I think one blames the other and the other one says it's the other.
Yeah. So
Typical he said, she said.
So I don't know if something's going to happen on June 9th or not, but maybe it'll be a WrestleMania.
I had heard Cleburne County was wanting to host it, but they were going to do away with their county fair. If that's true, that's a horrible mistake.
So I'm on the fair board, lucky me, and that is not at all. Cleburne County's been wanting to try to get it for a while. It got all the way to the legislature, 4 years ago, and it got killed there. And then somebody told somebody on a fair board that if they did host it, they couldn't have a county fair. I was like, well, I'm pretty sure Izard County had a county fair every year. They had a district fair, and the same. So anyway, I made a phone call to Patrick Fisk there at the Department of Ag, and he sent him an email just to ask, and he just said as long as the county fair is before the district, it's fine. So anyway, I'm not sure where all that is coming from, but no, there's no plans to cancel Cleburne County Fair and bring in district fair. If Melbourne doesn't want, or Izard County doesn't want to host district fair, they want to try to have it. I don't know what they do at Cleburne County. We don't have near the pen space, but.
Well, I've heard that Fulton County wants it. And if they don't have it at Melbourne, that they would step up and have the show at Fulton County.
It may be the highest bidder, huh, Mr. Cunningham?
I can tell you what county won't bid for it.
I don't know. Cleburne County ain't got no money. It's not going to mess up our carnival. We hadn't had carnival in 15 years. But anyway, it's 1:03. We're going to go ahead and get started. 70 participants. My goodness, I think this is the most there's been in any one of these. And Mr. Backus is on a call with National FFA. Miss Wise is, we are celebrating our retiring state officers, and we're all down at camp right now. And Miss Patty just fixed a wonderful lunch. You should all be jealous, and except for Mr. Draper, he got to eat it. And we're just down here just getting to enjoy those wonderful state officers that just had a crazy year. And so anyway, it's been a lot of fun, and we have a few more activities, I think. So anyway, I'm going to try to pull up the email that Mr. Backus sent out, and we can kind of look it over. Hope everybody's taking a a minute to a little bit of time today to look it over. I'm pretty sure that's why we have 70 participants on today, but that's good. This is a lot of important information. Start off by wanting to thank the advisory committee and all their thought and effort into thinking through these situations and trying to do what's best for Arkansas FFA. It is definitely a different time, and trying to make the best of this situation is our goal, to do everything that we possibly can to give our students every possibility to be successful. And so I want to thank the committee. Thank you, ag teachers, for just, keep on trucking. I mean, it's tough. And so as we kind of scroll through this, I'm not going to read it word for word. Nobody wants to hear me do that. And but we'll just kind of go through it and talk about the dates and the cost. And if you have any questions, please don't be afraid to ask. So anyway, let's go ahead and start off with, we're not really going to have ALC this year, but we want to have some opportunities for leadership development. Of course, leadership is one of the core opportunities that FFA offers, and we definitely don't want to do away with that. So the idea that was proposed and passed by the advisory committee, or Chris proposed it, the advisory committee passed it, but we're looking at doing several different dates in July. The thing is we can do 4 chapters at a time, and believe us when we say that, is that going to leave some out? Unfortunately, it is. And, but once again, it's about the only opportunity we can have. And we're also, if you scroll down, if there's a higher demand, we will try to do some officer trainings and try to evaluate more opportunities. It could be that we travel to you or to a general location in your area and offer some sort of leadership opportunities that way as well. So, but really we're looking at a chapter officer training. And so it's the socially distanced chapter officer training, 6 sessions, 6 feet apart for a successful year. This would be 2 days of pretty intensive sessions, going through dissecting, what it is to be a chapter officer, kind of what part they play in the chapter, how they develop their leadership skills and the leadership skills of those around them. And so a lot of thoughts put into it. And like I said, it's not a whole lot of just fun and games and rec time, but there is going to be some fun activities. Don't get me wrong, but it's really condensed down so we can offer multiple opportunities. So the cost is $700 per chapter, and that includes advisor and 6 officers, and there can be up to 2 additional officers added at $50 each. So is there any questions anybody has about, let me see if I can get this more in one shot here. Anybody have any questions about the socially distanced chapter officer training? Nothing's popped up on chat that I've seen or anything. So then again, I'm not real good at this. This is my first time to run a Zoom meeting. So if y'all have something in the chat pops up, I haven't saw anything.
Well, I have a question.
Yes.
Just how many of you guys have already got your new officers team? We're still trying to pull together some type of election for our officers. Do you guys have some suggestions on how to pull that off? I mean, my school, we literally shut everything down. We're not even allowed back on campus. So this, you know, that's one of my struggles. I think this is a wonderful idea. I just, my officers have been, you know, emailing me and stuff, and we've been trying to figure out some way that we could, you know, pull off an election. But anyway, that's my comments.
Does anybody have anything that's worked well? I know I remember Taylor Donnelly has mentioned before how they've done some of their digital elections for their officers. Anybody? Looks like we have Hannah Scott had just put in the chat about how they did some of their officer elections through Zooms or interviews. And of course, you know, I completely understand that internet availability is key. And Cheryl, you probably have some areas up there that don't have internet.
Yeah, a lot. The telephone company's been trying to make hotspots throughout the county, but that means those kids have to have the availability to get to those hotspots and stuff. So, okay, well, we'll
Just invoke martial law and select them.
Yeah.
Okay. that may be the best idea. Okay. So they had them use their telephones. Okay.
Looks like Miss Hewitt is asking if anybody heard the governor is going to release school travel. Well, that is a great question. I haven't got any kind of hint as far as school travel. I think the governor has left a lot of it up to the schools, but I don't think schools are allowing travel on buses, is what I've heard a lot of. As far as a school vehicle, I don't know. To me, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense why you can't take 7 kids in a bus and spread them out versus in a minivan or a Suburban or something. But anyway, I haven't got any word on the travel situation in school vehicles. Miss Cynthia Johnson had some suggestions about NomCom through Zoom. One says no go on school travel. Yeah, and that's what we kind of figure. Like the one thing that we've gotten and we understand is that every school is different. Some schools are saying absolutely no travel. Some are within reason. Some are just whatever the governor says. So, you know, of course, Governor Hutchins, I think, was hoping that we would be a lot closer into phase 2 by now, and that has not happened. And so Memorial Weekend, I guess, was pretty tough on Arkansas. Seemed like the cases started going up, but will officer training be working as a team, or will officers be split and set in different directions? Our goal is to have the officers work together. A lot of officer team activities in that training, but there will be some where, you know, they're kind of working on their own. But we want our plan is for that team to work together and learn how to work together. Mr. Mathis. So, okay, so Cynthia Johnson said that they could bus them, 1 kid in every other seat. So that's good to hear. And it just, once again, goes to show you that these districts are doing, you know, different things across the state. So any other questions about our social distancing chapter officer training? Lodging, basically a chapter will be assigned a large cabin not that they get the entire cabin to themselves, but they'll probably have 3 separate rooms at least. And so your chapter would potentially travel together and be housed, but you close together. Of course, no purple, but you know, we can spread them out in one cabin. So that's why we're doing 4 chapters. Big reason why. And we're, you know, our directive from our agency, from ADE, was to try to keep our numbers under the 50 mark per venue that the Department of Health has put out. So we don't have to apply for any special, I don't even know what they call it, a permit. I don't even think it's a permit, but basically I think you have to have a plan established, which we would have a plan, but you know, it's really, they didn't want us to go over the 50 mark per venue. So that's per building. Are there any other questions that we might have concerning the officer training? And once again, you know, if you have some kids that, you know, just they need this training, you know, we would love to be able to possibly provide some of those opportunities locally, if at all possible. Unfortunately, we can't travel to every school district in the state, but we would do our best to try to put together some opportunities for your officers. So, all right, if nobody has any questions, then we'll move on to CPC. There'll be 2 dates, 2 sessions, July 27th through the 30th, the max of 40 students, and August 3rd through the 6th, both of them with a max of 4 students. So if you read through that, what we really would like to have is 1 officer per chapter. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't, that 2 can't register, but 1, we would create like a waiting list. And so in the waiting list, you know, just be like going to a contest that only takes so many teams, you get put on a waiting list. It happened the same way. We really want to want CPC to affect as many chapters as we can. You know, the idea is that, you know, you're going to send one of your best, and you know, the idea is for them to come back to your chapter and help, you know, build that chapter and help spread that, or help teach others what they've learned during that time. And so we'll have 2 sessions, still $200 per student. Everything will be done at camp. That's why it's 4 days instead of 5, to take out a lot of that travel that used to happen during CPC. And so Mr. Backus has done a great job of putting together an outline of how CPC will operate, you know, and still yet have, you know, all the I don't know if you've ever, you know, my kids always raved about CPC, you know, whenever they got back, and the great experience that it was, and maintaining that integrity of that conference is very important. And Mr. Backus has done a great job of doing all that and staying at camp, but provide as great as experience as possible for those kids that attend. Any questions on CPC? All right. Summer conference. It's going to be different. So what we're looking at is basically 2 different days. Now, you can see that there's a max of about 70 teachers per set of dates. This would be repetition of the same material. So session 1A and 1B are going to be the kind of the same, but it's not that you, how am I going to explain this in a way that makes sense? But so it's not that you register for session 1 and register for session 2. Those are, you'd be basically going through the same thing each time. So all the content that we're going to cover, we'll cover in session 1, 1A and 1B, and the same will be covered in 2A and 2B. We just had to break it up to keep our numbers under 50 in each venue. So like there'd be 45 that would be able to gather in the Leadership Center, 25 in the Chapter House. Now, if we just see an overwhelming amount of people applying, then we could potentially open up another venue, maybe the Justice Center, and add maybe 10 or 15 to that. We just know that there are a lot of teachers out there that aren't allowed to travel at all, is what they've been told. So, and we're gonna, it'll be 2 full days. Like when we start session, we start on July the 13th. We'll start at 8 a.m. and we'll go to 5 p.m. or so. I don't know, 4 or 5, and so the question was brought up about AVATA business, and then of course there's a lot that goes on to for the AVATA scholarship. So our thoughts will maybe we can open camp up on the 12th for teachers to come in the evening before, and same thing on the 15th of July. We can have, so maybe we have 2 craft nights, maybe we have a golf tournament. I think that's the 13th and 14th is a Monday, Tuesday, and July 16th, 17th is Thursday, Friday. So maybe that Wednesday there might be a golf tournament. I mean, there's still some opportunity there for AVATA to schedule some things, bring bingo back. Absolutely. If we got to get Bruce and and those guys, maybe they can come both nights and run bingo. But that was a lot of fun. So anyway, there are some opportunities out there. AVATA, if y'all have get together and come up with some ideas, please don't be shy and send them our way. And as far as the business session, I'm not sure how that would work. And so that might be another COVID conversation that we have the next time. If there's anybody has some ideas on that, but the cost is $350. So you might be thinking, well, it's like almost half the time. Why is it, only, $100 less or whatever than it usually is? Well, our plan is to put as much material in your hands to take back with you as possible. A lot of our focus is going to be on blended learning and how that can be possible in your school, and that's going to be a big part of it. So if we're going to be talking about different activities and labs that you can do in a blended learning classroom, then we're going to do our best to put that lab, as much as we can in your hands when you leave. So by keeping that cost at at $350 mark, and it's going to be worth it. The number of hours that you're going to get for PD, we're going to max it out both days, and then whatever we have left, we're also going to be offering virtual PD, and that way we can make sure that you have about the same amount of hours you get every year when you leave, or opportunity for those hours whenever you leave on a normal year of Ag Ed PD. So we will have, Ms. Beavers, we will have some virtual opportunities. So with just this setup, so normally we have just over 200 teachers attend our in-person PD. With this, we will have about 140 is what we have here, and potentially maybe possibly adding, if we could open up one more venue here on camp, another 30. So we could get it close to 200 on camp. So we will be watching it very closely to see what and make those adjustments as necessary. When is registration open? I don't know. I told Mr. Backus we are going to record this and he can watch it and send out a response email for all the questions that I can't answer. And so
registration for in-service will be through Arch Ford still, so we got to send the paperwork to them. So we'll send out an email on that.
Yeah, this summer plan was approved yesterday at about 1:30, 1:40 or something. So and so far everything that we've been in our plan, we've already proposed to our leadership at the State Department, and they're okay with it. So all right.
I have a question about in-service.
Sure. Go ahead.
Since you don't know when registration is going to open, once registration is open, would we know immediately if there's a spot available for us? Because like I've got reservations because we don't ever stay on camp. And so that would be important for me to be able to change those reservations for the day that I'm going to be there. So that's what's concerning to me, is when it's going to open and when will we know if we're accepted for the dates that we're wanting.
And that's a question we'd have to, I'm not sure, like in the past, the way it's worked with Arch Ford Co-op is whenever we have a conference and registration, like as soon as you register, like I would get a confirmation email saying that saying that you'd register for this conference. So we're going to have a discussion on what that looks like. And I mean, as soon as we get the confirmation email, I guess it's not like our registration system for camp where it shows how many open spots there are, unfortunately.
Well, I think when you register online for like most PDs, like through our co-op, it shows you how many seats are available. So I bet they can limit the number of seats in each session. And then
Arch will have a limit on how many people can attend each week.
Okay.
Once they let us know that they have everything in order and have it set up, I'll send out a message to listserv saying it's open. And then it'll be first come, first served at that point.
Okay, thank you.
Is there any other questions about summer PD? And I know that your co-op directors are pushing you, if you're going to use Perkins, to get this done because they got to get it on their books because the fiscal year ends July 1, and after a certain point, they don't want any new Perkins requests coming through. So. Anything else? Okay. Please don't be shy and speaking up. All right. Do we know if Perkins will actually pay for this? Well, that's one of the reasons why we utilize Arch Ford Co-op. Well, I think we have to, don't we? For our summer PD, I think they took that over, but this is Perkins eligible. So.
And that's all contingent, on your school or your co-op having Perkins funds available.
Yeah.
But since this will be in the new fiscal year, usually there's an appropriation for PD there.
So it should be handled just like it is every year. We would just already have registration open by now. So, oh, looky there, Carolyn. Since it's mid-July, prefer the invoice be dated July 1 or later. Perfect. So, so that really helps out. So if you know, like, if you're going to submit it for a Perkins application, just make sure it's July 1, so they know. So it's going to go on the next fiscal year's budget. So, thank you, Carolyn. Okay. Anything else about PD before we move on? And we're going to get you out more information. We realize that we just threw a lot at you at one time. And I know that there's a lot that you're trying to get down and make sure it's on your schedule and it's going to work and it's in your budgets and everything. So, so we will do everything we possibly can. So Mr. Bowie asked if Ms. Casey's question about options for teachers to participate virtually. We will have some virtual sessions. We do not plan on recording and virtually posting the ones that we have here at camp. And I don't think we'll have enough virtual PD to amount the amount of hours that normally have, but we will do our absolute best to try to make sure that everyone who can come to camp for in-service has that opportunity. If it's because, you know, if you're saying, well, I can't go on a date because, you know, I can't go on the 16th and there's openings, you know, I don't know if we can open another venue on the 13th and 14th, you know. I mean, we'll try to do everything that we possibly can as long as we're staying within the numbers that the health department puts out. Then we're gonna try to do it. So, okay. Anything else about summer PD? And as soon as registration's open, like, we will send you an email, hopefully with the day that registration opens, and not just surprise it on you. That's not, that's never fun. So that's our plans for registration for all events that we're going to have this summer. We're still, registration for camps will open soon. We haven't even contacted the WeHots to, you know, on a date yet, but it will be coming soon. Okay. Well, Mr. Jones, that would be a miracle. I don't foresee. I think right now, you know, the governor is being very, very conservative, and I appreciate that for one. You know, I would much rather be a little conservative at this time. You know, my 12-year-old daughter's type 1 diabetic, and like we self quarantine hard for 2.5 months, and you know, I appreciated what the governor is doing. I do not foresee him opening everything up at July 1. Even if they did, our leadership, I don't think that that would happen quick enough, and then we just open everything up like it was. And so this is our plan. I guess we're, you know, if they open up things more and we can have more people at camp, it's probably just going to have more opportunities to have people there, but we'll probably will still plan on doing what we're doing now, because we have to go forward with this, and I just don't see how we can. But maybe we open up a day for AVATA activities. So, but as far as getting presenters lined up and having all that ready to go, we're gonna have to stick with the plan that we have. All right. Let's talk about CDEs and LDEs. So what we're going to do, and you saw the email earlier today. We're not going to be able to have an in-person contest like we wanted to. Y'all probably don't understand how hard Mr. Backus has been fighting for this opportunity for our kids, and so it is disappointing that we're going to do it virtually, but we are going to do it the best we can. And so our virtual district LDEs will take place during June 22nd to the 26th. And so the way it's going to work is each participant or team will be assigned a time to compete. And what we're going to do is a state staff member will Zoom with that participant or that team and record their performance on Zoom. And then what we will do is we will upload those recordings and into a data bank, and then we will be able to assign judges to those contests and have them judged, the recorded performance judged. And so the reason why we have chose to do a Zoom recording is, for one, we will ask questions to your speakers. We can ask questions to the Autonomous Procedure team and the CCM teams. Whereas if we did if we had ag teachers record and submit, then there's no opportunity for questions to be asked or to be answered by the participants. I know, in parliamentary procedure, that's a big part of it. And creed speaking, well, all the contests, the questions that are asked are worth some points. And so to do that, that's why we decided to do the Zoom recording. So the plan is that, so for me, like, I'll take the Northwest District and I will schedule and work with all the teachers on scheduling a Zoom meeting for their participants or their teams, and go from there. So, the dates of the 22nd to the 26th, we're kind of flexible on those days during that week, but we need to have them done that week. We have to have them done so we can turn around and have them judged, and then announce who the state qualifying teams are. And we will do a live Zoom for all state contests in July the 21st and 22nd. It's either going to be in person or virtually, but if we we'd love to do it in person. If things open up and we can do that, then then we're going to do it in person, if at all possible. If not, it will be done virtually, but in a live Zoom with the judges. And so, got some messages popping up. So, yeah, I'm sorry, Mr. Kilburn. That's the week it's going to be done. I wish we could have had all this done and out there earlier, but I completely understand. Leanna, on the we have not said when CPC registration was open. We haven't set a date for any of the registrations to open yet, but once we do, we will send out that email through listserv. Miss Adcock was so Nationals will not have contests this year. Asking for a friend. You are correct. Nationals has decided not to do CDEs or LDEs. They are going to do some career focused contests, but I think it's going to be open to anybody and it'll be done virtually. So that is correct. They last week come out and said that they will not have in-person CDEs or LDs in 2020 convention. And so why can't students and assigned judges Zoom at the same time for live judging and questions? Just the amount of time to get all that together and to do, we have if everybody competed that qualified, you're looking at, I mean, you see how district contests go in one day. If we can spread it out throughout the week, we're trying to be more flexible, give more opportunity. If something to occur on a Monday and you can't, your team or person or you can't do that, then we have other days during that week to get that accomplished. And so, and only being a couple weeks before this happens, we just thought that if we can record it, and then as soon as it's recorded, we can assign it to judges. It would be best, just trying to be flexible for you ag teachers and your students. So, yeah, I will be working on getting that schedule out, and I'll get all the information to Miss Wise and Mr. Draper for their districts, and working through there. So my plan for me is I'll just do kind of a rough schedule and email that out to the teachers. And if that doesn't work for them, then work with them individually on when it will work. One thing that I did not mention that we will have to do a live Zoom is discussion meet. There's no way to record that, and they have to be able to talk to each other at the same time. And I'm going to get with Matt Jackson at Farm Bureau to see if there's a day during that week that works best for discussion week or discussion meet. And we will, it'll have to be at kind of the mercy of Farm Bureau and so they can get judges. So when that contest happens, it will be a live judged contest. So, but Miss Wing, I will try to get that out. My hope is to try to start emailing on Monday on the schedule. So, Mr. Draper got a question about Agri-Science Fair, but you asking about it. But let's go through these district CDs and LDs. Yes, the recorded Zoom is just for district. State will be a live Zoom, Ms. Hewitt. So, job interview. Well, we're still going to have that in July because they advanced to the state. So we're not having it in person. If we do have in person, that's what it's going to be. But I think job interview can be done via Zoom pretty well as far as the personal interview goes. So it'll still happen July 21st or 22nd, Mr. Berenberg. So, all right. I don't see any more questions in the chat about district or state LDEs. Anybody out there want to voice a question or concern? I'll even take a compliment at this time, but doesn't have to. Anyway, discussion meet. Yes, we're discussion meet for district will be. We're going to try to do a live Zoom with the judges during the week of June 22nd to the 26th. Mr. Draper, is there anything about National Agri-Science Fair?
As of right now, I haven't seen anything as far as a call on not having National Agri-Science Fair at National Convention. But of course, everything is subject to change. And then also for State Agri-Science Fair, we'll be getting that information out fairly quick. We've run into some roadblocks here and there, and I do now have everything in hand as far as scores and everything. So we're just trying to decide on how that will all be released out. So you'll know that shortly on how that's going to come out to everybody.
Thank you, Mr. Draper. I got to get plugged into some electricity. Well, thank y'all for the compliments. I was you didn't have to send those, but yeah, our goal from the start of this was to try to make every opportunity we can for your kids, for our kids, whatever it may be, and to do it the best that we possibly can. So, all right, CDEs are going to happen July 1st, and they're going to be done virtually. I've already had some great phone calls this morning, and I'm not saying that sarcastic. Like, I appreciate every bit of information. Some of y'all have already done virtual contests, and you telling us the good, the bad. We need to know what works, what doesn't. We're basically brand new to this, and we want to put on the best contest we possibly can. And so I'm going to be reaching out to several of y'all about some ideas. And so if electricity, ag mechanics, land, nursery, landscape, get your thinking caps on, because I'm going to be making some phone calls, and I'm sure the contest Mr. Draper has, and Ms. Wise has, and Mr. Backus, we want your ideas, we want your input, and we're going to put this together and really try to make it the best we possibly can for a virtual state CDE. So CDEs will be just like they have been. Your team of 4 is going to be who competes. So, oh, great. So I had so what about if your team wins state contest this year? Well, good news. They're still eligible to compete in CDEs next year. LDEs, we're going to maintain the same stance we've always had, is if you win state, you can't compete in that area again the next year. So National FFA has mentioned that in 2021, they are planning on accepting a state winner from 2020 or 2021 or both. Well, we're not 100% sure, but for our sake, we have waived the part for CDEs that if your CDE team wins state, they can compete again next year as long as they are still a FFA member. So if they've graduated and they're in college and they're no longer in ag class, I mean, I don't think that would still meet the eligibility requirements to compete. But if they are 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th grade, and then they win the state nursery landscape contest that's done virtually, then they can compete in 21. So, so seniors, they, you know, I don't know what to say. It's tough, but will the teacher be invited on Zoom to watch the student for LDE, or strictly participant and staff? It'll just be participant and staff. Yeah, it just kind of, you know, at like in district LDEs, you know, we just try not to allow others in the room. So for state, I'm not sure how that's going to look. Do we have a time frame on July 1? We will. You know, more information is to come. More detailed information. What we wanted to get out to you now is that it's going to happen on July 1. So, Mr. Coke, and do the team members have to be at the same time? As far as I know, they don't. Just keep in mind that the system is pretty advanced, and that if you have one member that takes an hour and a half to take their portion of it, and you have others sign on later in the day and it takes them 20 minutes, the red flag is going to go up. So we're hoping that everybody just maintains a high level of integrity at this time. We completely understand that this is not ideal, and that there's holes. Yes, there are. I mean, it is not perfect. So Mr. Washburn, make sure video will load. It seemed to be the hardest part of the virtual contest for my students. So the video that they're watching is loading. Okay. I think that's what it's asking. You know, I don't know the solution to internet issues. You know, and I don't think we can control on our end how fast a video loads, or it brings to mind that maybe, you know, we should limit the amount of videos that we use if possible, if that's the case. So.
Hey, can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. The biggest thing we found out on the videos, yes, the internet is an issue on the virtual contest. And it may be that we just go to pictures, and I know that's not what everybody likes, but when we've been doing 3 or 4 of these contests, I've had at least 1 or 2 of my kids have problems with loading the videos. So I just want to make sure everybody knows that if we do videos on the virtual contest.
Yeah, that's the stuff that we need to hear. I mean, I've gotten texts and phone calls with people having trouble with certain things, and you know, if there's a specific contest and or something like that, let us know. I've had somebody text me and tell me that they had great success with their livestock team when they are judging on livestockjudging.com on those contests, and had a more difficult time using Cubase. So, Ms. Scott, so we didn't say you couldn't be in the room. You're just not going to be in the Zoom room. So if you have your kids meeting at the ag building to do their parley run, yeah, help them get stuff set up. So you know, I'm just going to be honest with you. Like, you know, I wouldn't expect I wouldn't even know how to help my kids during a barley run if I was in the same room with them. And they wouldn't want me helping them. Because I'd tell them, I was like, at this point, you're better than me. So, but, you know, as far as during the run, you know, be there if you can be there to get them set up, by all means. Your creed speaker, whoever it might be. I mean, you know, we are on the honor system, and that's just where we have to live right now. Yeah. Zoom rooms. I think our vocabulary has really expanded this year. So, is there any more questions I can answer? And once again, I can't go into, you know, too much detail on each one. We're still, as a team, discussing and putting things together. And so, but just believe me, just as soon as we get it, you're going to get it. And so I've been working on guidelines for the district format for all the LDE contest. And, you know, this is the first time I've been in the same building with Mr. Draper and Miss Wise and Mr. Backus in 3.5 months. And and we've really only been in the same room for about 45 minutes, because then Mr. Backus had a Zoom meeting and Mr. Draper got on one. And so it's just being together has been very nice. And we get so much done when we're around each other. That is one thing I have to say about working remotely, is that I do not feel as accomplished. So I got a flower bed built at my house, but there's still a lot I got to do on here. So, all right. Anything else on CDEs or LDEs? Because the last thing I have is Senior Ag Tour. And it's been so the thought behind Senior Ag Tour is that industry is not going to want a van full of kids pulling up to their place right now to tour their facilities. They're, you know, the processing plant and Hope, you know, any processing plant right now, they're not going to want anybody, you know, that's not an employee in there. Some of them don't want their employees in there because they're sick. So, so we've moved Senior Ag Tour into September, and we didn't realize that the application was still up on our website. We've had some apply, and so the ones that happen to apply to the May 15th will be considered on the rubric. So anyway, is there any questions that I could possibly answer? You know, we have yet to set up the Senior Ag Tour registration or open it back up officially. So Ms. Johnson, as soon as we do that and make those selections, they'll be announced. It might be July, I'm assuming, but especially since it got moved back to September.
And I believe that's the deadline time now, not when the actual tour will be.
Oh, yes, it is the new deadline. Sorry. Thank you, Mr. Draper. The deadline for Senior Ag Tour will be September 15th. So it'll be after September 15th.
Hey, Mr. E.
Yes, sir.
I've not done any of the virtual contests or anything yet, but are the livestock, for instance, livestock horse, is there any way to give oral reasons, or will that aspect just be thrown out?
I don't think there is. Mr. Barenberg said questions, so they have questions on the classes, I'm assuming. So it looks like they'll just have questions that they answer. So it doesn't look like they have. I don't know how they would. That that platform would work with Oral Reasons.
Gordon,
Yes.
the way that we did the oral reasons for our contest is I had the person that put the officials on the contest give me a list of questions, and the students took notes over the contest, and then they used their notes to answer the questions, and that was the reason score.
Okay. That's pretty neat. And see, that's you know, that's some really good information that it looks like we're going to try to, as soon as we figure out what each contest is going to look like, you know, we'll put out some information. I had a really good talk with Mr. Breeding this morning about electricity and how that might look in a virtual contest. And so as soon as we get that nailed down, then we will get that out there to you. We know that, you know it's going to be different. We're going to do everything we can to try to keep every aspect of the contest that we possibly can. But in electricity, you know, we was talking this morning that, you know, you can't break it up to where one kid does ID, one kid does, there's 4 separate parts to it. Like they're going to all have to do the same contest. So. Mr. Fain just said that they did a contest where they typed out reasons and emailed them to the administrator of the contest. So that's interesting too.
May not want to read 280 sets of reasons.
Are you a reasons taker?
No.
Mr. Simmons asked, "Is there going to be practice contests?" Well, there's been some. Harbor just had one, I believe. QBank, I believe there's a lot of contests out there that doesn't matter what state. You know, some of them are going to be really similar, especially like livestock. So there are some that are out there. Apparently, livestockjudging.com has some online practice contests. So there's some different ones out there. I don't know if we'll have time to put a practice one on from the State Department. So, but we haven't had that conversation yet either.
But you can tell us what to expect.
That's our goal, is to get that information out to you as quick as possible, what each contest will look like virtually. Yes, sir. Are there any other questions, concerns, comments? We'll refrain from the dirty jokes. Guys, I have 2:02. I've kept you for an hour, and that's a long time. And I sincerely appreciate everybody's input. I encourage you to please, if you have a question or concern, to reach out to us. You know, there's a good chance that you're not alone. Somebody's already asked, you know, and maybe we can help with that. Or it might be a brand new concern that we need to look into. So, just remember the Ron Koch method of, if you have a complaint, you have to offer a suggestion for how we solve it. So I really appreciate all your time and all that you're doing. I know it's a tough time. You know, my thoughts and prayers are going out to you and all your kids. You know, just stay healthy. I you know, above all, that's what's important right now. And just anything we can do to help, please let us know. Is there anything else before we close this meeting out? No? Well, then with that, I will say thank y'all. Y'all have a great day, a great afternoon, a great weekend, and we'll be sending out some more information just as soon as we can get it finalized.
everybody between now and July the 1st sit and think about the value of your integrity.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, I've learned a lot today on how to share my screen, if anything.
Hey, Gordon,
Yes.
I just want to say thanks. I know it's a lot to throw on everybody like this, but you've done a good job of getting a lot of information. A lot of it's controversial and a lot of people's minds are spinning, but thanks for going through everything like you have.
My pleasure. And I'm really hoping that Mr. Backus had a meeting. If he did this to me, it's just a mean joke.
I'm here now that the meeting's over.
Oh, he's there. He probably got on it at 1:02.
Unless
Good
he
job,
had his name as somebody else, he just signed on.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Samantha. So, Cynthia, Ms. Johnson asked if we get it. So the application, the new deadline for the application is September 15th. Was that the question? I'm not sure what the question was anymore.
If they have to resubmit or not. They do
Okay.
not. So
Okay.
if a student has submitted by the original deadline or has submitted so far, they do not have to resubmit. And what we'll do, I've just been dumping all of those applications into one folder. So I will, before the September 15th deadline, I'll reach back out to everyone and just confirm that we received their application, and then just send a message to listserv saying, if you didn't get a confirmation, let us know, so that there's no confusion there. But if they did submit already, they do not have to resubmit.
Thank you. I got lost in the chat. A tentative agenda for in-service, Ms. Snyder. As soon as we have one, we'll get it to you. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so we're submitting all the paperwork to get it opened up on the Arch Ford registration system, and that will require an agenda. So we'll get all that sent out as soon as we can.
Well, I think I took so much time, there might not be another COVID conversation that I run. We could probably have one just on online contests that people have been involved in, and suggestions, what worked, what didn't.
That would be good.
Yeah. Mr. Washburn had a lot of great input. Mr. Fain has as well, texted me a lot. And
Mr. Tucker had some suggestions too.
yeah, Mr. Tucker, yeah. So that would be a good thing to do. Man, I like that Aaron Aubrey's on here twice. He's so intent on this Zoom.
That shows real commitment.
Yeah. When you open up two computers and make sure you're Zooming twice.
Are y'all down in the Leadership Center?
I am. Oh, yeah, Mr. Draper is. I'm in the office and he's out in the
In the big room.
In the
I'm
big room.
social distancing.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to come down there.
Yay, party.
Yeah. I get my hat so my head doesn't sunburn on the way down.
Uh-oh.
Everybody look at Mr. Backus's hat. He can show you all the different ways he can wear it.
Yep. Very practical. Lots of different options. All right. I'm going to head down the hill.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Just remember, that's where all of our leadership and guidance comes from. Oh, gosh, I'm still recording. Oh.
Oh, no.
He won't watch it. Well, you're not. Well, I guess there'll be a position open up here soon. So,
Everybody get your applications in.
yeah. Might take this
Anybody else have any questions?
All right. I'm going to end it. Thank you all for Zooming. Bye.
Thanks, guys.